wanted another vacation just like that with all those people. There weren't kids there aside from Presley. It was all of our adult friends and family, but he just loved that so much. And so, for one, I want to say thank you, everyone, for loving him so well. Um, because he felt that, and I think Doug and I just look back and he was a child that had no lack in his life at all. Like, he was loved so well and held up by so many people that even to the end, like, he just didn't question ever how special he was or how much he was loved or how surrounded he was, which, as parents is huge, but just for a kid fighting something so hard was just so phenomenal and comforting, I think, to both of us. But I also thank you guys for just supporting us because until you've walked this road, you just can't know how hard it is. And I want to say to Doug, there just aren't too many men who could do what you did this last year. You were and are the most phenomenal father. And Christian was very, very lucky. I was very lucky to watch it. But I think everyone would agree that just every choice you made the entire year was just so life-giving to see, even though, like, he was on such a hard path. And so I want you to know that I love you. I think we all see you. We see how hard this road was, but how beautiful it's been too. And so thank you all for being so good to us continuously, for what you've done before, for what you've been doing now, and I know the friendships and family and all that we have in the future, because we need you. Because this is hard, but we just love you all so much. And don't feel like you have to, but if you just, tomorrow's gonna be a very big, not very intimate thing, and we just wanted something because of who Christian is that was more intimate, not just for him, but for us. So if you have something you'd like to say, please just speak up, and if not, don't worry about it. But we just want to give everybody.
And then we're gonna do Laners and have drinks.
Hey, go ahead, Getaway, take it over.
Christian was on my football team, and I've known him my whole life. As Doug has said, and Leslie, I have one really impactful story about Christian. I have a lot of funny stories about him too, but this was probably, I think, about mid-July when we kind of knew what was going to happen. And Christian was at our house, and the boys had made a slip and slide, and they were going up and down, and he had wore himself out. He was pretty tired. He comes down and sits next to me, and we're just talking about everyday life stuff. And he just kind of looks at me and he goes, "I always called me Coach Ken." It was not really coach anymore, but I wasn't at the time, but that's what he called me. And he looked at me and he goes, "Coach Canaway," he goes, "the best part of this journey the past year is how close I've become to my family and friends." And that was really just Christian, just the vision and just the way that he looked at life. Well, obviously at that point I told him I had to go inside to get a drink because I really needed to cry for a minute, but that was Christian in a nutshell, of just thinking about everybody else but himself. So another funny story, so he was on my team in 3rd grade, and Christian was not very athletic at the time. He wasn't at all, not at all. And he wore a watch the first couple practices, and I've changed now, but I at the time despised the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. So he would come to practice, and like the first couple practices, their helmets only, and we got into shoulder pads and then full pads, and he wore a watch. And he just had this deal. He could be like, "Hey, Coach Canaway, how long are we practicing tonight?" "Christian, I don't know. I don't know how long we're practicing." And like the second night, I go, "Christian, if you wear that watch to practice tomorrow, I'm going to make you run." So we get to practice and we're stretching, and I walk up to Christian, and I would always go around and ask the kids like how their day was, how was school. And he goes, "What, Coach Canaway?" He goes, "I'm not wearing a watch." And I go, "Dad, you're not." He goes, so we don't have to run tonight. And that was kind of Christian, but every Monday that we would have practice, he'd be like, did you watch Chiefs play? Because you know that I absolutely hate the Kansas City Chiefs. So this was 3rd grade, this was 4th grade. It kind of became like our deal. Like every game, every practice on Monday, he'd be like, did you see the Chiefs? They beat the Broncos. Did you see Mahomes? I'd be like, no. Well, honestly, Christian just had that way about him that like, this soft way that he could move you in ways that you really never even knew that you were being moved. It was just his way. So when I was here the past couple weeks, I told him, I go, Christian, I know you're not going to believe this, but because you've met Mahomes and the way the Chiefs are, I'm going to have to root for the Chiefs now. But in a nutshell, that is really just how Christian was. He just had this ability to move you and move people and make them feel special without you really even knowing that he had that ability to do. And we always had this saying, you know, like, you can never, and I'm going to say this tomorrow night, you can never underestimate the impact you have on someone's life. Think about that. You can never underestimate the impact you have on someone's life. And there's not a person that lived that more than Christian did. He understood the impact that he could have on someone's life. And he never took that for granted. And these boys would tell you that. He just had that ability, no matter what was going on, of making everybody around him feel special. And as Coach Taylor would tell you, anytime that he messed up, we would get up in his face and be like, you gotta block him! You know, you gotta make that tackle. And he would just look at you and say, all right, Christiano, I'll get you next time. That is just not normal of 3rd and 6th grade boys. There's always an excuse or something there, but that just wasn't Christian. He just truly understood the impact that he could make on someone's life. And I know myself, and I hope everybody here and everybody tomorrow night just feels blessed that you just got to be just a slither. I think that we talk about this world and this country and all the things that are going on, and especially the young kids, how they're different and they don't show compassion, and if they don't show love and discipline and all that kind of stuff. And I just saw a kid that was able to touch so many kids and they didn't even know. And that the kids that were friends with Christian, the things that they did, and the amount of compassion and love that they show, I know we've talked about that. I don't know if I would have at that age. They did things that I can't even imagine doing and having that kind of compassion. And that was all because of Christian. Just because you're soft-spoken and quiet and don't talk a lot doesn't mean you can't be a warrior. Because he proved that sometimes the biggest, strongest warrior is the one that doesn't talk. They just do.
Yeah, and I want to commend especially Grayson and Ethan, these 2 boys up here. Over the past few months, I mean, they would come over, have a sleepover with Christian. Christian would be passed out, and they just treat him like he's normal and played Xbox and did everything. I want to thank you boys for being such a good friend to him.
Well, I want to thank you guys for letting all of us be a part of Christian's life and letting us be, you know, a mentor. And I know that for me, that I'm definitely a better person for knowing you guys and for knowing Christian. So I know I could stand here all night and talk. I'm a talker, but I'm not going to. So, anyways, thank you guys very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christian has inspired all of us, and I know you guys would all say that.
This is my mom.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you guys a story about the Christian that I will remember the best. And this was right after Doug and Leslie got married. And I had texted him one day, just off the fly, so he would know it was me and I would have his phone number. And so I texted him, and you know, Doug always posts and he says Christian was an old soul. Christian also had an old brain, and not an old brain like my husband, but an old brain that's really quick. And so I texted him, and he's like, "Who is this?" And I said, "Christian, this is Becky. I just wanted you to have my phone number." And he went, "Oh, thanks, Grandma." And I said, "Well, thank you, and thanks for calling me Grandma." And he said, "Well, you are my grandma now," which is super sweet. But then a second later, I get the text, "Duh." Which I can hear him saying in my head. And then followed by, "You do know it's legal." I'm like, "Yeah, but thanks for reminding me." So that's the kid kid that I'm always going to remember. That quick, funny kid who always wanted to laugh and was always so much fun. And we are so blessed to have had him even the short time that we did.
That's getting way I'm crying. Very first thing was Doug and I have become really good friends. Doug said tonight was going to be a party, not sad, so that's why I wear my party shirt. That's what he said. So I was trying to accommodate. But we combined 3 football teams to 2, and Brad was the coach. I was his assistant, his defensive coordinator, and Doug didn't want me touching his kid, Christian, because the reputation that I had that I was rough on the boys. I'm not rough on them. I try to make them better men. Yes, I chewed your asses. But Doug didn't want me touching his kid. And that's what he said. He came down the field and said, I'm not going to let you touch my kid. First off, I don't even know who the hell you are. I know you're on TV, but I don't really give two I don't care. I'm here to do a job, and I'm here to coach somebody. So the very first practice goes, man, Christian let somebody through him. And I grabbed Christian, and I was like, hey, you can't let him pass you. I didn't say it like that, but I told him you can't let him pass you. He looks at me and he goes, Coach, I'm sorry. Can I try it again? But be a smart ass. Be a 13-year-old kid. Argue with me. Tell me that that he wouldn't do that. That was Christian. So then we're out there running. Yeah, I might be the quote unquote the hard butt for the team, but Coach Ganaway was an asshole. He would run these boys. I mean, if they didn't do stretches right, if they came down, they didn't have their helmets on, he's ready to run them. I mean, he was going to run them for 2 hours. I was like, come on, Brad, we can't run them. We can't run them. So Brad's running the boys because he's mad. Christian's standing right beside me and he goes, can I talk to the boys? I'm like, yeah, man, go ahead. Brad, hey, stop running them. Anything I could do to get the boys to stop running. Because I'm that mean guy. So brought the boys over and Christian goes, pardon my language, stop being a wussy. I got cancer and you guys don't even want to run? Get your butts running. And Brad and I looked at each other like, yeah, okay, run. Run them. Run them. If Christian says run them, run them. Well, when Christian got diagnosed, he wanted to have, I wear a bucket hat, a blue bucket hat. He wanted my bucket hat. And I said, Christian, I can't do that, but I'll get you a Kansas City Chiefs bucket hat. So Ethan buys him a Kansas City Chiefs bucket hat. He wears the bucket hat and he comes over the sideline. And he's got his little clipboard and he's got his piece of paper and he's ready. He's ready because Coach Keller said he could be my assistant. I said, all right, bub, we're going to evaluate the boys because there's like third or fourth practice. We're going to evaluate the boys. One of them didn't do something just right, and I told them to get their effing butt over here, and why were you not effing blocking? Christian grabs me, he's like, Coach Keller. Yeah, bub. You can say that without saying, you can tell them without saying that. Okay, Christian. It comes over to me and I was just like, okay. Would you please not do that again? Look at Christian, I was like, is that better? And he goes, yeah, it's much better. But he had an impact on everybody's life. He did. And everybody says that, oh, they're a great guy. I mean, because Doug will get up here and lie when I pass away, so will Brad, he'll Frankie. He'll tell me I'm a nice guy. But Christian literally would put Coach Keller in his place. Frankie tried, Brad tried, Doug got me thrown out of a game. got me thrown out of a game. And he thought it was funny, and it wasn't funny, because Brad was mad. We go to Lamar. They have a young boy that was the quarterback that got hurt.
It was home cooking.
Home cooking. That's what I said, but that's not what he said. We go up there. We're supposed to play at Webb City. They want to play at Lamar, so the young man can get all the proceeds. That's fine. We're okay with that. It was a lopsided referee game. It was a BS game, and that's just saying it nicely. Doug is an honorary coach standing behind me. The whole game, Coach Keller is just like, "Hey, bub." The referee's there. I'm like, "Hey, bub, you need glasses? I mean, do you not see that? What's going on? What's going on?" Doug behind me is dropping every F-bomb, every S-bomb, everything. And I'm just like, Doug, it's all good. It's all good. 32 seconds left in the game. We have one of our boys gets a face mask. Doug's standing behind me, and I said, "Hey, man, that's some serious, ref, you're not going to call that? That's home cooking. I mean, that really is home cooking. That's ridiculous." And Doug goes, "That's a bunch of BS." And he said it loud enough that the ref heard it. He throws up the flag, blows the whistle, and runs out to the middle of the field. And I'm like, "Home cooking? You're gonna throw me? I mean, you're gonna give me a flag for home cooking?" Meanwhile, Doug's standing behind me, snickering. And I'm like, "What's going on?" Brad comes over. Frankie comes over. I didn't say anything. Brad goes, "What'd you say?" I didn't say. I just asked him if he's not going to call that call because it was home cooking. He goes, "Sir, you're thrown out. Coach, you're thrown out because you said the S word." I'm like, "S word? How old are you, bub? Are you 12? How old are you?" They throw me out. Doug goes, "Hey, it's all right, Kelly. I'm the one that said bullshit. Don't worry about it. Have a good day." I'm like, "Doug, really? You could have got thrown out. It'd been fine." But he got me thrown out of a game. Christian always said that it was his dad that got me thrown out of the game. We laughed up until a couple days before he passed away that your dad said BS. It wasn't Coach Keller, and he looked at me in his room and said, "Coach Keller, you would drop the F-bomb, so it's all right." I know, Christian, I love you, man. But that's all I got. I mean, that kid was, everybody says that they're a great guy. Christian was a very kind soul. He was. "Christian, go run." "Okay, Coach." "No, damn it. Argue with me. Say, do something." But he'd always come smiling, and he'd always be the first kid to come over and say, "Hey, Coach Keller, what can I do different so I can play on your defense?" That spoke volume. Because, I mean, he won the Big Block Award. I had a party at my house.
He did get more athletic.
He did. He did. Because I told him, I said, "Christian, you gotta be mean, bub. If you want to play defense, you gotta be mean. You're too nice. You can't worry about hurting them." And he got athletic, and we needed a big play. I think it was during a Super Bowl or something. I was like, "Christian, I need you to go knock this kid's head off. I need you to rock his world right now." Christian goes out, hammers that kid. I felt sorry for the kid. I was like, "Oh my God, you hurt him, Christian." Oh gosh. And he comes running over and he goes, "I did it. See what I'm saying? I did it. I said, "Yes, you did, bub. You did." So I made a block and I gave him a Big Block Award. But he's a great kid.